All right. Fucking live. Fucking live, motherfuckers. So how's everybody doing? I noticed the people popping in, popping out. I got some news. Intel news. Well, I guess it's not Intel anymore. The whole world knows about it. Hey, Frigga. Get chat going up here. So, get right into it. The headlines today. Well, let me go over what happened on the 26th. On the 26th, and I didn't cover it that well. I meant to that day, and I was gaming. So let me get a screen cap so you can see the article. Let's do the entire screen. I don't need audio. Okay. Taiwan report, this is on the 26th of March, largest ever incursion by Chinese Air Force. So the Chinese are testing Biden's muster with incursion after incursion since January. This is the largest one with 4 nuclear capable H-6K bombers and 10 J-16 fighters. That's 14 among others. Was unusual and came as the island's Air Force suspended all training missions after 2 fighter jet crashes this week. Beijing routinely says such exercises are nothing unusual and are designed to show the country's determination to defend its sovereignty. And Taiwan is no threat to taking over China or taking back Hong Kong or anything like that. So they have really no reason to run training missions against Taiwan, except for that they are they are planning to invade Taiwan. So as we see that happening, now you all might have heard that Biden had enticed the Ukraine and Croatia and just those other bordering states on Russia to entice Russia to put some armor on the border last week. So Russia's seen that, and they have moved armor yesterday and today in a massive blitzkrieg movement along Belarus. Now, they were already there along Belarus because of the civil war in Belarus. That was the basically civil war. And Ukraine had Biden requested armor up along the border here, the southeast. And so Russia, in response, moved around 50 to 70,000 troops and how many tanks? As many as 40,000 Russian troops, including tanks. It doesn't say how many tanks. This other article says how many tanks. I've got 3 or 4 of those articles. There were a bunch of them. The equipment had been on trains headed towards southwestern Russia since March 27th. So it was around the 23rd when Biden had said to entice them. And so they were already on the border. They just moved up a little bit, and then Russia moved a bunch of shit up there looking for a staged invasion or something. I wouldn't doubt if we see Russia go ahead and invade Belarus and Ukraine within the next 3 months, 3 to 6 months. Before it gets wintertime over there, it's just now spring like it is here. And so right now is the perfect time to set off a quick blitzkrieg 3-month-long battle, 4-month-long battle to do whatever, and then retreat during the wintertime. Go back to some sort of ceasefire during the winter time. I'm looking for tank numbers and I can't find them. This includes at least one clip of train load of 152 millimeter 2S-19 Mazda self-propelled howitzers, BMP-3 infantry light vehicles, and crossing a bridge into the Crimean Peninsula. They've already seized regions of Ukraine in 2014, and the Kremlin subsequently annexed it. So as we all know, Putin wants to build back gain back the old states they lost during the breakup of the Soviet Union, and for economic reasons. He doesn't have any interest in genocide or anything like that, I don't believe, but he sure does know how to probably slip that in with his background being in the KGB, as we all know. While Donald Trump was president, Russia took no territory. Under Presidents George Bush and Barack Obama, Russia under Putin took territory in the former Soviet republics of Georgia and Ukraine, and was met with no U.S. resistance. And so if Biden backs up his Russia, and the leftists back up their Russia narrative and attempt to stifle their attempts at gaining territory in the Ukraine, and this all has to do with the pipelines coming through these areas and into Europe, and who has control over the pipelines, and mainly the economic factor of regaining these rich, fertile areas and oil transport areas, So another article I want to go over: 10 radical new rules that are changing America, maybe permanently. 1, money is a construct. It can be created from thin air. Annual deficits and aggregate national debt no longer matter much. Prior presidents ran up huge annual deficits, but at least there were some concessions that the money was real and had to be paid back. Not now, as we near $30 trillion in national debt and 110% of annual GDP. Our elites either believe permanent zero interest rates make the cascading obligation irrelevant, or the larger the debt, the more likely we will be forced to address needed income redistribution. Laws are not necessarily binding anymore. Joe Biden took an oath to take care that the laws be faithfully executed, but he was willfully rendered federal immigration laws null and void. Some writers are prosecuted for violating federal laws, others not so much. Arrests, prosecutions, and trials are all fluid. Ideology governs when a law is still considered a law. Crime rates do not necessarily matter. If someone is carjacked, assaulted, or shot, it can be understood to be as much the victim's fault as the perpetrator's. Either the victim was too lax, uncaring, and insensitive, or he provoked his attacker. How useful the crime is to the larger agendas on the left determines whether a victim is really a victim and the victimizer really a victimizer. 3, radicalism is now acceptable. We are defined first by our ethnicity or religion, and only okay, it's kind of hurt my voice to read this. I'm going to let the computer read the rest of it. I'm sorry. I know you like hearing me talk, but I don't want to lose my voice in case I need to do a lengthy live stream tomorrow or something.
We are defined first by our ethnicity or religion, and only secondarily, if at all, American commonality. The explicit exclusion of whites from college dorms, safe spaces, and federal aid programs is now non-controversial. It is of whites from college are defined first by our ethnicity or religion.
Hold on. I don't think I have audio on there.
Three, racialism is now acceptable. We are defined first by our ethnicity or religion, and only secondarily, if at all, by an American commonality. The explicit exclusion of whites from college dorms, safe spaces, and federal aid programs is now non-controversial. It is unspoken payback for perceived past sins, or a type of good racism. Falsely being called a racist makes one more guilty than falsely calling someone else a racist. 4.
Damn it, what is going on?
Matter. If someone is...
I had a share screen up. Okay, share screen, share audio. It's not letting me. You can hear it. Share screen. Oh, I see what I wasn't doing. One more time. Here we go.
3. Racialism is now acceptable. We are defined first by our ethnicity or religion, and only secondarily, if at all, by an American commonality. The explicit exclusion of whites from college dorms, safe spaces, and federal aid programs is now non-controversial. It is unspoken payback for perceived past sins, or a type of good racism. Falsely being called a racist makes one more guilty than falsely calling someone else a racist. 4. The immigrant is mostly preferable to the citizen. The newcomer, unlike the host, is not stained by the sins of America's founding and history. Most citizens currently must follow quarantine rules and social distancing, stay out of school, and obey all the laws. Yet those entering the United States illegally need not follow such apparently superfluous COVID-19 rules. Their children should be immediately schooled without worry of quarantine. Immigrants need not worry about their illegal entry or residence in America. Our elites believe illegal entrants more closely resemble the founders than do legal citizens, about half of whom they consider irredeemable. 5. Most Americans should be treated as we would treat little children. They cannot be asked to provide an ID to vote. Noble lies by our elites about COVID-19 rules are necessary to protect Neanderthals from themselves. Americans deserve relief from the stress of grades, standardized testing, and normative rules of school behavior. They still are clueless about why it is good for them to pay far more for their gasoline, heating, and air conditioning. 6. Hypocrisy is passé. Virtue signaling is alive. Climate change activists fly on private jets. Social justice warriors live in gated communities. Multi-billionaire elitists pose as victims of sexism, racism, and homophobia. The elite need these exemptions to help the helpless. It is what you say to lesser others about how to live, not how you yourself live, that matters. 7. Ignoring or perpetuating homelessness is preferable to ending it. It is more humane to let thousands of homeless people live, eat, defecate, and use drugs on public streets and sidewalks than it is to greenlight affordable housing, mandate hospitalization for the mentally ill, and create sufficient public shelter areas. 8. McCarthyism is good. Destroying lives and careers for incorrect thoughts saves more lives and careers. Cancel culture and the Twitter reign of terror provide needed deterrence. Now that Americans know they are one wrong word, act, or look away from losing their livelihoods, they are more careful and will behave in a more enlightened fashion. The social media guillotine is the humane, scientific tool of the woke. 9. Ignorance is preferable to knowledge. Neither statue toppling, nor name changing, nor the 1619 project require any evidence or historical knowledge. Heroes of the past were simple constructs. Undergraduate, graduate, and professional degrees reflect credentials, not knowledge. The brand, not what created it, is all that matters. 10. Wokeness is the new religion, growing faster and larger than Christianity. Its priesthood outnumbers the clergy and exercises far more power. Silicon Valley is the new Vatican, and Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, and Twitter are the new gospel.
All right. I wonder where my boys are at tonight. So I don't know. I guess I came on a little bit late. It is 7:35, and I didn't do a live stream yesterday, so I guess everybody figured I just gave the fuck up. But I just needed a day to decompress from everything because it was getting to me a little bit. So, but I will have another live stream tomorrow. Or if shit goes down on the border there, whichever border you want to talk about, whether it's over there in Russia or here in the United States. There was one big thing they wanted to show everybody today was some coyotes dropping a 3 and a 4-year-old little girl over the wall to fend for themselves. Luckily, it was on camera and somebody went and got him right away. But think of what you say, what kind of people are these coyotes? Well, I mean, at least they're sending them over the border and they're not snuffing them out. They're not killing them. That's not needless. Hey, stranger, that's needless not to say that some people are being murdered. Probably a great deal of them, and especially the pretty young females. I really feel for them. But, they've probably been told that's the price you're going to pay for traffic to the border. And a lot of them probably didn't come from much any worse than that, so they accept it. It's the 3 and 4-year-old little babies that are getting raped and shit that pisses me off. And every girl that coming through the station, they're testing them for being pregnant, and I think there's 1 out of every 3 baby bearing age girls is pregnant. Or they rape kitten on them, So, I mean, what are we going to do with all these people? I feel for them, you know. I want them to come here and have an opportunity, just like my neighbors right here, and my other kids across the street, you know. But if you can do it, if you can legally, and I understand the system to get in, it's kind of fucked up, but shit needs to change, you know. It needs to be streamlined. But coming over here by the thousands, and they're estimating it's going to be 1 million in a couple months being staged down there on the border. They're already busting them out as far as New Hampshire and Washington State, from all the way clear to the Canadian border. They're busting these people out and sticking them in mainly blue states, but they do make it to areas like mine, Walmart headquarters territory, and set up shop, you know. And the governor of Texas was on, and then there was a sheriff, and they went down there and looked and said there was just tons of crates of drugs and all you name it, it was down there, all kinds of drugs. Yeah. Yeah, stranger, I didn't post. Yes, I posted a couple things yesterday on Deep State, but our numbers went down on Deep State for some reason. I guess because I didn't post yesterday. I left out all my posts, and it was just you. And if not sure posted, I don't know if he did. He might still be driving. And maybe it's because it's getting close to Easter and people don't want to focus on the news, you know. And just the other day was a real big emotional news day about the border and, you know, word about Russia and stuff. But I just wanted to clarify all that with what I went over tonight, you know. But we are only a little over 3 months into this administration, and it's already in a tailspin into a big pile of shit. We are headed for the probably worse times than what occurred in World War I and World War II. I believe. Probably worse times. Where you'll probably lose your fucking place to live or get kicked out so an immigrant family can be moved in, is what I'm seeing these people are going to do. It is a big fuck up. It's probably the biggest fuck up we've ever let happen as a people of the United States. Stigmata. And you know, you ask, where is your Jesus? Where is your God? And I tell you this right here. Consciousness is unity, is one. There might be a positive and negative polar to, but duality is an illusion. The thing is we're all one consciousness. We looking back at itself in a mirror, in a mirror, in a mirror, and that's what duplicates us on a quantum level. But what we are one consciousness, and going where it goes is being controlled by an outside force that we call the archons. And they are supposedly, most likely, an extraterrestrial influence or an intraterrestrial influence from inside the planet. We really haven't been given the correct information. We've been given a lot of hearsay information, but nobody knows exactly. Your Jesus and your God are probably just figments of the imagination of the consciousness, most likely. A giant holodeck. I would take it a little bit farther than that and say it's 3D hologram or 5D hologram machine that something has worked up, and everything is it's physical. It's just I can touch it and everything, but but everything is a vibration. This solid, what you deem as solid, is actually vibrating at a low frequency or high frequency. It just depends. Everything is mostly gas of various materials, molecules. Space is a strange thing. The space between molecules and atoms is very odd. Why wouldn't it be solid? Well, you ask me, I don't know. It's the architecture. It's the architecture of the universe. Is a lot of space, empty space in it. It's not necessarily empty because there's a force that dwells in that, and that could be an anti-consciousness or a consciousness force. It just depends on the charge, a positive, negative, or neutral charge. So there's actually a trinity in the duality, in the singularity that's the one consciousness. It goes on forever in infinity into multiple dimensions, into many, many dimensional aspects. It's just mind-boggling. And this all started from one thought from something. We don't know what. Could be a space turtle or something. We don't know. Test run for boot camp. Well, there was an article I was listening to the other day saying that all these illegals are coming looking for jobs, and they're not going to find them, so they're going to have to enlist in the military, and that sets up a big paradigm for World War III. Well, we get all these people enlisted in the military with no skills, and we send them off to war, kill off most of them, and get our wartime economy back going. And that solves a lot of problems right there. But it doesn't look like they're waiting to get these people citizenized before we start a major conflict. Authentic from synthetic. Now, I ask you this: what really is synthetic and what is not synthetic or biological? Because you either have biological or you have constructed things that have been constructed, whether that from a machine or a man or an animal. That's fine, stranger. But my birthday's at the end of the month, so I'm going to kind of try and relax too, because I just got a little too stressed out the other night, and I was in between crying and being mad, and that's not a good thing. And it was all because of the news, all because Biden's fucking shit up for us, and Trump abandoned us basically. Now, in his mind, in Trump's mind, he's going to come back and save the day one of these days. Yeah, well, it's already too late. Look, the damage has been done on the border. The damage looks like to have been done in Russia. This madman, this senile madman, and his evil Vice President Kamala Harris, Camel Toe Harris, has not only kicked the can down the road of national debt, 70 years of paying back this debt that's already incurred. And today he signed an infrastructure bill that was what, $3 trillion? And we all know how government infrastructure works. It falls the fuck apart or never gets completed. It gets half-assed completed, then somebody else has got to fucking finish it. And who's that going to be? The Mexican crews. The Hispanic crews are going to finish that. The next thing you hear is going to be a labor force incentive that hires on. The government makes the labor force for this infrastructure, and then they hire on all these illegals to do the work, is what's going to happen. And they're going to buy all their materials from China. Okay? Mark my words. They will buy all the materials from China, and it won't last as long as your CD player lasted. Last CD player you bought, which was probably 10 years ago. Because they don't make CD players anymore, I don't think. I've still got one. I bought a real good one, and it's still kicking if you put batteries in it. Oh, that's nice, Frigga. All right, so my supper's ready. Yeah, no problem. You guys have a great night. Peace out, motherfuckers. Mr. Mission Control's out of here.